to Two Crazy Redheads.
I'm Deborah.
And I'm Bobby, and we are drinking some fine wine. Cheers.
Cheers. In a mug, no bottle.
Yeah, this is, what it is this is mulled wine. And I thought we should do a video on it because it's really good, and I love it, and I'll tell you all the wonderful things that I put in it. This is a great use for Beaujolais Nouveau or a dry wine that you've had sitting around for 3 or 4 days. This is a wonderful use for it.
So, okay, I'm not familiar with mulled wine, so that's why I'm really excited about this. I'm like, I've heard of it. I'm like, I don't know, you put some stuff in it and you stick it on your stove, or I don't know what you do.
Pretty much.
So,
so what you do is, what I did with this wine is I actually only made half the bottle because we have had plenty of wine tonight and we're going to be drinking it, so I didn't want to waste wine. But nobody wants to waste wine. That's a bad idea. Abuse. Exactly. That's abuse. So this wine, it's a Beaujolais Nouveau. This is actually $2 Chuck. Woo!
Okay.
And it's mixed with some orange juice. I put, for half a bottle, I probably put a quarter of a cup of orange juice. I put in, and I put in just all the spices that I would normally put into a full bottle because I can reuse those spices for a day or so. Now, I wouldn't reuse them beyond that because of bacteria. That would make you sick.
Okay, did you put all the spices like in a cheesecloth and make a ball, or just
I just stuck them in.
Okay, you're just going to scoop them out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what I do is I straighten it. I have a little tea strainer because I prefer tea in like large leaf and stuff. It just makes better tea, and it's the way the British do it. And you know, the British do tea right. They have a whole meal named after it. But anyway, so the way I do it is I take 6 large sticks of cinnamon. I prefer Mexican cinnamon because it's sort of weird. I don't know. It's not as tight. It's bigger. It's really cheap here. And then I use...
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I use like 6 sticks of that. I use probably 12 to 18 cloves of not garlic. Cloves of clove. I use, sometimes I use anise seed, but this time I use star anise.
Okay.
I put in probably about 12 star anise. And then I dump in probably like a quarter of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, ginger, and allspice. Probably an 1/8 of a teaspoon of allspice. And then I put in like a half cup of sugar. Oh. And if it's too sweet, because sometimes it is, the nice thing about only doing half a bottle is that I pour in some more wine. And it balances the palate. I think that this might still be a little bit too sweet. I did pour in too much sugar, but that's pretty much my recipe.
The spice and stuff, it smells really, it just smells yummy.
It does. It's good. See, what comes out on the nose is like the orange. In this case, like the cinnamon and the anise are really predominant.
Okay, so how long do you cook this on the stove? Because then you
15 minutes. You don't want it to boil because then you boil off the alcohol.
Okay, so you put it in a saucepan, all that stuff, and you put it on whatever, so it doesn't cooks it medium or something, right? So
yeah.
It doesn't boil at like 15 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, once I've added everything, I cook it for about 15 minutes. Sometimes I cook it for longer, but I cook it for a minimum of 15 minutes. And then, like, I knew Deborah was coming, so I turned it off and I just let it stew. And it's fine to just let that sit for an hour or two. It allows all the spices to marry, and she likes it. So I'm gonna
okay, so and then it's got. So you didn't boil off the alcohol. So you got to be careful that there's definitely still some, alcoholic content in this. But that is
good.
That's yummy. I've never had it before.
It's like having chai tea with wine. That's what it really reminds me of, with like some orange juice thrown in.
Yeah, I mean, it's not wine. I mean, it's mulled wine, but I mean, it's not like going, oh, I'm gonna have some wine.
And it's
I'm just
sweet.
thinking I'm gonna make this for when my family's coming over next weekend for Christmas.
Yeah. You could, absolutely. I mean, it's great. It's nice for cold weather, too. You don't necessarily want to drink something that's at 65 degrees, or, whatever room temperature happens to be at the time. Yeah. My house is cold.
Yeah.
It's nice, yeah. And it's, eggnog. I prefer eggnog cold. This is nicer than eggnog, so, yeah.
Because it's warm, and it kind of warms you up a little bit.
Yeah.
For the cold weather when it's like this, I mean, if I'm going to do like wine and you want something to kind of warm you up, I like a fortified wine, like a port. way cheaper to make this than buy good port.
Yeah, dude, it was a $2 wine, and the spices, I went to my local grocery store, actually the original spices I bought in downtown at a big mart where everything's super cheap. I think I went there one day and bought like a bunch of vegetables and spices and spent $5 because I'm cheap like that. And I got the cinnamon in an enormous bundle for $1.
You know what? I get the orange juice, but it's not like, oh, I'm drinking orange juice. It's just that little hint of orange.
It's the balance
and
of
the
everything.
cinnamon and the clove. I like it.
It's a winter drink.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm glad you like it.
Like,
ta-da!
yay!
I'll give you some spices. You can take them home.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So anyway, that's us.
Two crazy
redheads. Clunk.
Cheers.